Chapter 3. I woke up sweating profusely. The nightmares were back. This time, I didn't have any scars or bruises. Perhaps because Mom had cut my nails and I didn't have to fight in this dream. It wasn't even a nightmare in the strictest sense. No one was doing anything bad to me. The dream just took me back to Juvi's funeral. I was still standing in the same place, feeling the same dreadful pain. It felt so real that I cried in my sleep. Then I saw him, the guy with the hood. The dream was showing me something that I failed to notice that day. A wooden coffin, everyone wearing white, fake hugs and kisses, a dead body, and a black hand. I now remember seeing his hand. I couldn't see his face, but his hands were definitely black. He was black. Was he Gunda? School was over and there was nothing to do. There was no Juvi to annoy or Theo to have picnics with. The whole town looked happy for Summer's arrival. No one even remembered Juvi's death. Not even her friends that dissed her after finding out she was jolling with a black man. It was the saddest summer ever for me. No matter how much effort I put in waking up, readying for the day and facing life, nothing could shake my memory of what happened. It was 16:05. I was late for book study. Pastor Phillips had told me to meet him and the group outside church. No one was there, so I figured they were already inside. The church was a mix of cream and brown colors, with all kinds of strong glass windows shaped in different ways. The windows that resembled glass bottles were marvelous, as if the painters had worked with pride. Then there were those in bright colors, with golden lines dotted around the drawings. The paintings didn't allow the sun to properly shine inside. There were a few white lamps placed in each church corner, but still the light wasn't enough. Like everything else, long wooded sitting benches lined the church. I couldn't believe we still had trees since we used it for everything. We abused trees more than black people. The ceilings were beautiful, gold backgrounds with "they" all over them. The ones who wrote the book, who told us what is right and what is not, who divided us. They were white, no space for black. Maybe they didn't have black tint because everything black was banned. Thus, we never saw black furniture, black clothes, or anything black. There were stains in the floor. The church was very old and so many Rhodesians would step on this floor and lie. I walked around looking for the book study room. I heard someone reciting the book. It was Theo, my one and only stupid Theo. The door was semi-open. I didn't have to knock. I carefully slid myself in without disturbing anyone. There were 9 of us. Their faces were familiar, but I didn't know their names. They all sat in a circle in their wooden chairs. I sat down next to a girl. She smiled at me and I smiled back. Theo stopped reading for 2 seconds to glance at me. I ignored him and focused on Pastor Phillips instead. He seemed happy to see me. You shall love the one who loves you. You shall forgive the ones you love. You shall take care of the ones you love. Theo was reading a verse from the book. I didn't know if he chooses that verse in particular for a reason. What does it mean to love the one who loves you? The girl sitting next to me asked. It means love needs to be reciprocated. Theo placed the book on his right thigh and answered her. He was confident when it was anything related to the book. But to be honest, no matter how much he memorized everything in those tiny letters, in the brown dirty pages, he was just too naive to put it into practice. I still don't understand, she admitted. She was brave. I would never admit that in the group of people considered as book fanatics. He means that the person needs to love you in return. It is only love if you both love each other, I answered on his behalf. Very good, Jodi, Pastor Phillips commented. I have a question, Pastor. Is it possible for people to love each other, but not in the same way or in different ways or intensities? I was trying to provoke Theo. I sat comfortably. I was actually enjoying being part of this. Maybe they would give me more answers. Theo, son, why don't you answer Jodi? I don't know if Pastor could feel the tension between us, because he wasn't helping. No, If one person is not as strongly invested in the other, it is not love. Perhaps infatuation or adoration. If you truly love someone, the other person loves you as hard. He looked straight at me. I don't know if he was saying that both of us did not love each other or we did. I was confused. Thanks. Let's say two people love each other. How can one hurt the other? And why? If you love someone, you need to take care of them, of their heart, right? I was trying to hide my anger and resentment, but it was quite obvious. It was just me and him in the room. I forgot about everyone that was there. Sometimes people make mistakes. And as the book said, if you love them, then you need to forgive them. He scratched his hair. How do you know if the person deserves forgiveness? I expected Pastor Phillips to be the judge between me and Theo. Everyone deserves forgiveness. Pastor Phillips intervened. Except black people, right? I didn't blink. I looked straight at Pastor Phillips. He would think twice next time before making me come to this stupid book study. The whole room gasped. Jodi, read the book. You will find your answers. He left the room, leaving me, Theo, and the others from the same age range alone in the room. I stood to leave the room, trying to look like I was embarrassed, but I wasn't. Everyone's eyes followed my every move, especially Theo's. I walked around the church trying to find the exit, but I would get lost. The church was like a labyrinth. I passed through the familiar-looking door. It was the room where we had said our goodbyes to my sister. I continued to walk past until I found a white door, which led me to the back of the church. I leaned on the wall and I stared up at the sun. I heard someone's footsteps. Are you okay? The girl who I sat next had followed me. This is so hard. I can't do it. Now I understand my sister. I can't do this. How can people survive this? I think I answered her question somehow. Pastor Phillips just told me your sister passed away. You must be going through a difficult phase. Do you want to talk about it? I feel like I'm broken. A broken toy. I don't know if I can ever be the same. I could never be the same. I understand my sister more and more, how much she changed and why. It's impossible to restart myself. Start everything again, recovering from the person that you used to be before people damaged you, so I could offer my original self to someone else. But I don't want someone else. I want him. I started crying. I would cry everywhere. Who? She had no idea as to what I was referring to. I wanted to be the first at everything for my man. Now I can't. I can't go back to him. The person I once loved doesn't exist anymore. I dismissed her completely. I just wanted someone to listen to me, especially Theo. I knew Theo was somewhere nearby, listening to our conversation. He needed to know how much he hurt me. Have you ever made love? I knew it was a personal question, but I didn't care. Yes. When she answered, I looked at her, judging her in a way. How does it feel? I urged for her to answer. Like you're flying. Maybe all I needed right now was a friend, a girl my age who would understand me. How? It changes everything. She breathed deeply. What do you mean? I was intrinsically curious. The sun was making my eyes blind. Your body changes when a man touches you. Your mind changes. The way you see things. She opened up easily. I left her there, my new friend, without even saying goodbye. It was Tuesday. The same Tuesday I had seen Theo doing those things. The same Tuesday Juvie left this earth. I feared days. What was going to happen today? I longed for this to go away. I felt two different pains and they were both devouring me. The grief caused by my sister's passing and my anger towards Theo. I was mad. I wanted to beat him. I inherited Juvie's anger. I found myself knocking at Aunt Nolly's door with my face looking awful. I needed more from her. She opened her door very fast. She was worried. She was wearing a blue duke on her head, a white blouse, a yellow, dark green and gold skirt. It was the most bizarre thing I had ever seen. I entered the room. She told me to sit on the couch, and I did. We didn't go to the tailor room as usual. She went to the kitchen, walking fast as if it was an emergency. Maybe she thought I was going to end up like Jovi, but I didn't have her guts. She came back with tea, spilling everything because of how fast she was walking, like she really believed it was going to make me feel any better. "Tell me, sweetheart, what happened?" She traced her fingers on my face. "I think there's something wrong with me. Maybe the reason that Theo..." I couldn't finish the sentence. "No, sweetheart, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect. Whatever happened between you two, it's not your fault." "I should have given myself," I confessed. "No, you shouldn't. You will when the time is right. You two are going to talk and sort out everything." She fixed her duke and was talking as if she disregarded what Theo had done. "But no, it's over. We are not." I started sobbing. "No, it's not. You are both too young and you have your whole life to figure things out." I looked around the house. There were so many questions. He cheated. He lost his virginity to another person. He betrayed me. He broke my trust. I tried to explain, but she didn't look convinced. "I know, sweetheart, and I know you're angry. Remember our last conversation about pain? You need to experience it to fully embrace happiness." I was more confused than ever. What was Aunt saying? "So this is normal? Is everyone cheating on each other? I don't understand." My face could tell I hated finding out things like this. "No, I am saying that sometimes things happen and you need to forgive." She smoothed out her skirt. "I've been trying to understand everything and I have been fortunate enough to learn. I know now that certain circumstances make people hurt each other, like for instance Jovi and Gunda. But in my case, what was the reason for Theo to do what he did? What? There was nothing interfering with our story. He's white, I am white. There was no one trying to stop us. He just had to keep his pants on. Our love became dependent on him, his decisions, and he chose lust over love." I wiped my tears and prepared to leave. "I can see how all this is changing you, for the better. But you need to be understanding. You need to forgive." She stopped me from moving and held me. Jovi told me that loving Theo was easy, and now I believe her. I want something more, someone who makes me give my all. Uneasy love is better than no love. I think Aunt was referring to her situation. "Can I ask you one more thing?" "Sure. What happens after school?" I looked around analyzing her house and realizing that tailoring was able to afford her. "What do you mean?" "You were a tailor. Jovi was working at the salon. What happens to me?" I pointed at myself. "You are you. You are Jodi, and soon you will be finding something you're good at." "I am not good at anything. I don't know how to do anything." I thought about numbers, but I didn't want to be a maths teacher. "It's impossible," she smiled. "All I wanted was to finish school, marry Theo and have babies." I took pride in being honest. "You can still do that and do something you like." Aunt Nolly always carried hope. "Like what? Maybe I'll be like Mom, a housewife." I was rambling. "You know your mom once wanted more from life. She wanted to be a dancer, but she gave up everything for you girls." When she said girls, I could see that Jovi's image had crept into her mind. Jeez, it will never go away. Never. Now it's only me. I walked towards the door. What was I good at? There was nothing out there. It was just Rhodesia, and I had to find something to do. I was proud of myself for finishing school. It's not like anyone failed. I laughed inside. School was mandatory from grade 0 to 10. And then you find something to do or get married. I thought about Vince and how he helped me make it through school. I needed a place where there was no morning juvie or Theo. I decided to go where I used to have tutorials. He was probably there. As I walked, I could see plants growing between the rocks, and I wondered how it was possible, since the weight of rocks should make it hard. It made me gain some kind of hope. I couldn't let this pain defeat me. I knocked on the door. No one answered. I went around to the back of the house to check through the window and see if Vince was there. He was, concentrated on his book. I knocked on the window. He looked surprised and mad for the bother. He stood up and went to the main door and opened for me. I came to say thank you, I said as I entered. I had to tell him in advance, give a reason to disturb him. Come in. He walked back to his office and allowed me to follow him. I did. He told me to sit. The chair was in front of his desk. I sat. I'm sorry for your loss. He sounded like Theo. I was tired of so many sorries. Can I help you with anything? I just wanted to say thank you for helping me finish school. I smiled slightly. It's my pleasure. It wasn't. He leaned back on the chair and crossed his hands. He hated white people. He hated me. Can I ask you something? I would interrogate the whole town if I had to. Yes. He seemed intrigued. What happened to my sister? For some reason I thought he could help me. Why are you asking me? I don't have anything to do with your sister's death. He became angry, as if I was accusing him somehow of participating in her suicide or murder. I don't know who to talk to. Everything is falling apart. My sister, mine, is dead. And Theo, I cried. There was no way a black man could feel compassion for white tears. They would always think we didn't have feelings because they thought our lives were easy and everything was perfect. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. No sympathy, none whatsoever, worse than that. Have you ever loved someone? I continued my cry for help. I was never fortunate to. He looked deeply at me, at my skin, at my color, like I was the reason he never loved. Why? I persisted to know more about him. Love asks for a clean heart. A heart free from resentment, anger, and remorse. I didn't have a place to love. Where could I love? Where? We didn't have ceilings, a place to sleep. How would I take care of the person I loved? He folded his hands. I was very confused. All these mature people were saying different things about love. I don't understand. I thought love comes with all those things. I shook my head to show how confused I was. It does, but your heart can't be heavy to begin with. You are a perfect example. You are young. You have never experienced anything like this before. You didn't go through pain growing up. Your childhood was a preparation for you to love, to exercise love. For a few seconds, he looked like he cared. I loved him. I really did. I was referring to Theo, as if the whole town knew what he had done to me. Vince had seen me and Theo several times together. He would either come to pick me or drop me at my tutorials. I believe you did. You possess the capability of true love, because you have never been hurt, until now. He followed my thinking as if he knew we broke up. He crossed his hands, signaling the conversation was over. So you mean I won't love again? I wasn't done with him yet. The next time you love, it won't be like that. You will hold back. You will fear because your heart will always remember those times. The more he looked sympathetic, the more he sounded like he envied me, like he was mad at me for having the privilege to love. No, you don't know me. I will love someone even more, even harder. I am not afraid. I slammed my hand on his desk and I glared at him. You don't know what you are saying. He disregarded me completely. I'm too young, right? Everyone is saying that. Can I ask you another thing? I really wanted to squeeze as much information out of him as I could. What is out there? My eyes pointed out the window, which revealed the windows and consequently what was behind it. War, Humans fighting each other. At least here, it is safe. He walked around the room. At least, I looked at him to see if he was going to decipher what he meant, but he didn't. I need a friend. Can you be my friend? My kinder ways were too courageous. We will never be friends. We are not the same. He was going to start preaching about black suffering. I didn't want to hear it. It made me feel uncomfortable, perhaps guilty. We can change that. My voice was shy and I was afraid to make him angry. No, we can't. There should be no alliances between races, remember? He slowly came back to his desk. There were a total of 7 desks in the room. His was the bigger one, placed on the right corner of the room next to the board. Help me understand, please. Certain areas designed for certain people, not allowed to have certain opportunities, always the best and second rated. There is enough to go around. Why some people have and others don't? He recited his pain. His voice changed. My aunt told me you guys are not evil. Or not all of you. But I remember when I was younger, my mother told me a black man killed a white man. I don't know the reason. She didn't say it, but my legs were shaking. I was afraid of his reaction, but I had questions that had to be answered. If I told you how many of you killed us, you won't believe me. I know it's hard for you to believe in something different from what you were raised to. The ones who end up killing, either white or black, they didn't want to be like that. They acted because of their circumstances. I know the story you are referencing. It was 6 years ago, but I don't want to go there. He faced up to the ceiling, trying to remember what happened then, but he chose not to share with me. I wonder why. There was a silence in the room. I stood up to leave so I could go and find another shoulder to cry on, but he still had something to say. It's not even about me. I feel it for my brothers. Do you think this is about you and your sister? When he mentioned my sister, my eyes opened widely. What about my sister? You said you don't know anything about it. I held my glare. You said you want to understand, but are you sure you can take it? He was teasing me. I would do anything to find out what happened to my sister. I was already at the door, but I slowly went back to his desk. Even turning your back against your people? He continued to probe me. My people is my sister. My whole body packed at his desk and I faced him. Can I trust you? Yes, I assured him. He didn't say anything else. He touched his chin and there was an agonizing suspense in the room. His silence allowed me to leave the room. Did we just make a deal? I waited for a sign from Vince for days and nothing came. I don't know what kind of pact we had made, but I was tired of waiting. I thought about Theo. The feeling wasn't going away. Even if it did eventually go away, it wouldn't go for real. I didn't know if I would ever stop loving him. Next time, I will definitely choose wisely. Then again, how can I be demanding to my heart? How can I choose someone? I never understood girls who would tell themselves, I need someone smart, I need someone who is this, I want someone like this, like that. I always thought love was unpredictable. You find yourself there without even knowing. The first time Theo touched my hand in math class, I knew that was everything I needed, his love and my love for numbers. It was a starry and black night just like them. The ones I have been called to help, but I couldn't. I couldn't sleep. I decided to go back to that place. I don't know how I could find consolation in a place where I was murdered twice. The dark tunnel was even darker at night. It was quiet. If something made a sound, it would echo instantly. When I reached the green part, the green of the grass was so powerful that it lighted my way. All the trees looked the same, but I wanted to find one to lean on and think about my sister. I found one. I sat with my back leaned on it and I drowned myself in the memories with my sister. I thought about her, how she found pleasure in dancing, in the same manner as Mom. I had 2 feet left. I couldn't do anything womanly like cooking or sewing. I relished things that were already made, that came already done. Maybe that's why I was denying myself from the fight of making this land a better place. The grass told me someone was approaching. Who was it? Black or white? It was getting closer and closer. I wasn't afraid. One thing about pain, it creates an armor around you. The shadow of whatever was coming blackened me, but I was still white, very white. You look exactly like her. I heard a voice I had never heard before. Like who? Who are you? His voice appeared. I was sitting down on the ground, and I looked up to meet his face, his black face. I am who you are looking for. He smiled, but there was a sadness around him. He offered his hand for me to support myself to stand up. Gunda! You are Gunda! I was perplexed, more shocked than the day I met Vince. But this time, not because he was black, but because he was real. Gunda existed. Yes, I am. He stared at me for seconds. He looked like he was seeing a ghost. I never thought me and Juvie looked alike, but the way he was studying me proved me wrong. I am Juvie. I knew it was not necessary to say, but I didn't have anything to say. I miss her so much. He had a long and full beard. I didn't know Juvie had a thing for beards. Me too, he nodded. I am sorry. I felt like I somehow owe him an apology. Was it you at the funeral? I had to know. Yes, he was thorny. I have been dreaming about you for the past days. It's always the same dream, but I couldn't see your face. He looked kind of shy. I could see what Juvie saw in him. I know about the dreams. He gave me something like a wink. How? I didn't tell anyone. I looked at his eyes. They were bright. I can't explain, but I knew you were looking for me. I have come here several times, waiting for you. I don't understand, but I'm relieved I met you. I smiled. I don't think a smile was appropriate since we were both mourning. I know. I can feel it. He returned my smile. He had a delicate smile. There was something about him like he carried some type of spirituality and grace. I always thought she was so strong. I could never picture her giving up like this. Tears suddenly came. She didn't give up. He was very sure of what he was saying. What do you mean? They found her here. They. His face changed. I could see the dark anger coming. But I wasn't scared of him. There was a reason Juvie loved that man, and I trusted her. You believe it? Come on, you know your sister. She would never kill herself. I could see pain from his words when he said kill. I am sorry. I know it's hard to believe, but I think she didn't know what to do with her feelings for you, and the only way to kill the feeling was... I could feel my words hurting him, but I had to believe in my position on this story. Maybe he would also find peace from it. She told me a few days before her passing about sacrificing. And then she sacrificed something. Her life. My heart started palpitating. She meant you, your family. She was going to sacrifice the love for you guys. She was going to come to our side, live amongst us. When you are in love, you don't see it as a sacrifice. It comes natural to do something for the person you love. She knew how to love and how to show me that she loved me. She would do anything for me, for us. I could see a very discreet smile on the corner of his mouth. He was proud of how she loved him. No, my sister would never leave us. No. I started shaking my head. You don't think she would leave you, but you believe she killed herself. Wake up. Don't you know your sister? She was very strong. She was going to sacrifice anything for us. Us. Even giving up her own family. He was incredibly hurt. So what happened? I looked numbly after his explanation. I should ask you that. She would never kill herself. She wanted to protect herself even more. She wanted to be safe, alive, for me, for us. I have never witnessed pure sadness like the one he was bursting. Protecting herself from who? My eyes were astonished. I thought you had these answers for me. She would never end her life like this, knowing that there is someone out there who loved her. I frosted hearing what he was saying. I don't know what to say, what to think. I wish I was like her, capable of sacrificing everything for love. Think! Who would hurt your sister? He screamed at me. He wanted me to realize something he already knew. I don't know. I really don't. Everyone hated her because of you, but they would never kill her. I continued to shake my head till the point it was hurting. We black people are born to endure pain. We are naturally strong. But this pain, he touched his heart. I don't know what to do with it. I don't. He wasn't crying, but his voice, his heart, his whole body was crying. I'm sorry. I am really sorry. Don't be. Do something. Do something for your sister. He looked up to the sky. I don't know what he was looking at, but something I couldn't see. I once heard that black people have some type of magic and they can feel things we can't. I can't. It's not my battle. I kept repeating my aunt's words. She was warning me for my own good. Your sister was wrong about you. She told me you were strong. He was teasing me the same way Vince did. Strong? Strong? I keep hearing these words lately, and I don't know what they mean anymore. I am not strong. I am not anything anymore. I looked down. Tears urged to come, but I stopped them this time. You need to revenge for her. Fight for her. How do you know she was really murdered? I was slowly changing my mind. I don't, but I can tell you she did not kill herself. He knew more than he was telling. Maybe you don't want to believe it. It's your subconscious preventing you from seeing the truth. It's blocking it on purpose. I think I sounded smart. If she did commit suicide, where is the letter? You don't think your own sister would leave you a letter? At least a letter? His hands were back and forth. The moon was disappearing and it was cold. I don't know. Maybe she didn't want to. If she was going to leave us for you, maybe we didn't mean much to her. I sounded callous now. I was lying to myself. Maybe because he said that she was going to disown us really hurt me. What about me? My letter? Where is it? He pointed at himself aggressively. Just let it go. She's not here anymore. There is nothing we can do. I was becoming cold just like Mom said I would one day. I held my head and I started screaming. He was torturing me. You don't know what you're saying. She chose me. She favored me over her people, her own kind. She made my fight her own. It bothered her to see my people suffering, being treated like this. The fact that it was hurting her to see me hurting made me fall even harder. I loved her. What she was willing to do for me, I don't even know if I myself had the same courage. But she was wrong about you. She said one day you would see it. She said you were too young to understand, to join our fight. But now, it's time. He looked at me persistently, waiting for me to decide. I am just a girl, a white girl. I just finished school. I don't know anything. All these things I am learning are still new to me. I was candid about my premature realization. It was getting very late. I could see the sun rising at any minute. I had to go back home, but he wouldn't let me go before I decided. Are you going to pretend you don't see it? This constant injustice doesn't affect you? Are you going to be blind at what is happening? He was shaking and stuttering. It does. It does affect me. It does. Tell me what to do and I will do it. For instances, I believe that if he helped me, it would bring my sister back. But it wouldn't. She was gone. Forever gone.